Hey, everyone. Sorry, let me just put in the title here. Jeff Bruno on live. Welcome. It's February 24th. Usually do these towards the third week of the month. And Jeff Bruno, your outsourced CFO, of those of you who don't know me yet, on the East Coast, Philadelphia. And been doing this for a while with Sean. He's the man. I'm looking forward to today. Let's see, are there any general updates I can give? I usually like to give a couple general updates. PPP2, it's been going well. A lot of companies have gotten it. A lot of our clients have gotten it as well, who have had 25% decrease in their revenues per quarter last year versus 19. So I highly recommend you get it done. If you're a small business, this group is generally smaller businesses. Biden apparently has just passed this thing that for 2 weeks only small businesses can get access. So it is available. Get it. Don't fret about it. Get it. It's money the government is giving to the small business industry, and it's going to be the last. In my humble opinion, this is it. This is the free government 2 years here, and we're done. Free government money. So take advantage. What else? If you're wrapping up taxes, that's not my area, but just make sure you're prepared for that come April with cash flow in case you need it. So let's start. First is my good friend Heather, who I saw for the first time on the other question and answer session I did last week, and Heather loves to jump on with questions on live. So she kind of touched on this last time, but let me start here. So Heather Brockman, her question is there an average training period I should be working towards with my new hires? Her business is, we currently have our on-the-job training set at 80 hours to cover all aspects of the company, the processes, the vehicles, and this is all followed by a test to make sure they understand and can implement everything. It is a paid training, of course, but for groomers who are used to making commission, it is a drastic change. 100 a day for paid trading. This may have cost me a new hire. I'm wondering how I keep the training thorough and a mandatory 8 hours so it is the same across the board, or do I tweak it for each person? So we offer a high-end holistic grooming experience for busy pet owners whose animals are part of the family. So Heather, we touched on this a little, and I think this is tricky for you because training is something that I would agree with you is essentially something that somebody has to go through to be comfortable with your process and understand what they're doing first before you can really give them commission or get them into a structure. But, one avenue to think about is maybe you do a draw component for a slightly higher pay. Now, this is a risk for you, obviously. They could just come in and leave. But if this is causing people to leave prematurely, maybe you would do a component of that that's a draw. So maybe you do 200 a day, with 100 of it being a draw, and you apply that over a period of time, maybe the first 3 months of when they're through training and they're working, against their commission pay. So you spread it out, but you subtract it from their commission over the first 3 months. And that way you get repaid for it, but they're not super stretched in the beginning during training. Just an idea. Might be something. Now you could eat that, but depends on your cash flow and whether it seems like an idea. So hopefully that's helpful. Next submitter, Michelle Adams. Michelle asks a three-part question. What factors do you, three-part question. What factors do you consider when implementing a wholesale program for your products? What are good margins for buying others' products to add to your e-commerce site? And what are good margins for selling your products wholesale? Business description. I own a dessert bakery AM in the process of changing the business model from retail and catering to all e-commerce. My primary product is cake in a jar. I would like to add complementary products to my site as upsell items, candles, coffee, etc. and I'm interested in wholesaling those items from other makers. I've also been asked to wholesale our products in turn. My main goals are for the growth of my e-commerce brand, our sales and brand awareness. So Michelle, I also met you on my thing last week. Good to meet you. And I still have yet to get one of your jars. I'd like to order that. Please email me, jeff@yocfo.com. And Shelly was talking about your jars this morning on her live. So love it. So let me get a little financial here, which is why you're asking the question. So Michelle, what I typically see is there's three parts of the market. There's retail, there's wholesale, and then there's manufacturing. And those are all different price points. So if you're a manufacturer and you go straight to retail, you're going to make the most money. Full stop. That's why a lot of companies these days, a lot of end users or even OEMs, original equipment manufacturers, are looking to streamline the whole process and go straight from manufacturing to the end user. And end users are looking to go straight to the manufacturer, getting out of the distribution network or the wholesale network. It's happening a lot more. Technology is allowing that to happen. And e-commerce is allowing that to happen. So, I would say I would try to go that route first, is you manufacture straight to the public, retail. It's your highest margin. It's probably your easiest way to start gathering some cash. However, I like the idea of wholesale too, because it's another channel for you. So if you look at it in three levels, let's just use an example to make it simple. So if you take a jar, or let's say 2 jars, and I don't know what you charge, but 2 jars of your cupcakes or desserts, and let's say it's $10. Make the math real easy. Okay? $10. You get 4 cupcakes or you get 2 jars. That's what you would sell to the retail public. $10. So typically retailers want 100 to 150% markup or more on that product. So that means that you have to have a cost structure where you're selling that at, you're selling it as a wholesale component at about a $4 or $5 rate. If they're then selling it for $10, $4 or $5 per unit for $10. So that gives them the retailer, about a 50 to 75% GP, gross profit, on that good. Why do they need that? Well, they need that because they have all of the fixed costs on the end delivery to the, let's say if it's cupcakes, it's to the location or the town, for example. So they have a lot of cost to get that last mile delivery. So they need a good markup or they can't do the business, as I'm sure you know. So good rule of thumb is 100 to 150 markup for retailers, which means a 50 to 75% gross profit for those retailers. So on that $10, you need to make that for $4 to $5. You need to sell for $4 to $5, which means that you have to sell that. You have to be able to manufacture that at a $3 to $3.50 range. So if you're doing that, that's tight. Your margin's not tight. You're at a 25 to 35% margin. And I've seen wholesale customers, wholesale profits or margins anywhere as low as like 10, 15%. You're not usually doing too well there. Upwards to maybe 50% on the high end of a wholesale margin. So if you can get in the 25 to 35% range, maybe 40, you're doing well on that price point. So that's something that you should consider and see if your pricing mechanism can fit into that construct. So hopefully that was helpful. Let me go to the next question. Give me 1 second. All right, next question is from Yulindi de Gouveia. Sorry if I butchered the last part of your name there. So, question they asked: best way to raise capital during the early stages of your business. So, business description. We produce and sell decorative pillow covers. We want to expand by manufacturing pillow inserts. We resell inserts at the moment, and it's about 50% of our monthly income. Making these ourselves will drive our cost down to a 1/3 of the current cost and save on shipping to us. This will give us a very competitive advantage on our Amazon and Walmart marketplaces. Purchasing the equipment in raw stock will be around $90K with a retail value of over $700K. So it will leave a lot of room for us to offer wholesale pricing. We will be the only manufacturer in the Valley, which is a huge market advantage. Who do I approach? Venture capital, angel investor, private investor. I have my business plan, projections, last 2 years financial, and business assets all ready to go. Okay, awesome. So Yolindi. So it looks like if you're selling retail value at $700K with a $90 cost, you are seeing a humongous margin in there. You're seeing an 87% margin, which is awesome. So, and is a great starting point for your business. Now, I agree. Now, historically in this industry, I used to be in the furniture business myself. So, in this industry, when you're dealing with fabric goods or furniture like that, or pillow inserts, things of that nature, you have to have those kind of margins because the goods are, there's a lot that goes into making them, and there's a lot of labor typically. There can be a lot of shipping, and there's a lot of buy and hold. There's a lot of inventory process with the raw materials. So you need a lot of profit to be able to continue to buy and expand, because you need the cash, the cash from the profit to buy more inventory. So what a lot of people have a problem with is they start this business. They think, oh, I have such huge margin, I'm going to just crank this business. And they run into bottlenecks on inventory. They run into, I can't buy enough material to service the orders, or I don't have enough cash to store enough inventory to service the market I need to get to. So an example would be, you got to look at what your cash conversion cycle is. Now, not to get too technical on finance here, but you got to look at how long do you have to hold inventory, how many days, how long till someone pays you. Ideally, they pay you right away when you sell it, but if you're doing wholesale, then you have to have an AR function, accounts receivable function, where you have to wait for payment. So how long are they to pay you? And then how long do you have to pay your materials, your AP, accounts payable, of the product, the raw materials to make the product. That cash conversion cycle is very critical to having enough cash to growing your business successfully. So I love the idea of doing it internally to save on cost. That's awesome. And it's a lot of your monthly income, so that's important. So the only other thing I would say here, which I think is going to be an issue for you, is while you're in a business that is a well-known commodity is not the right word, well-known business, it is not very sexy. So not typically something that an angel investor or venture capital, in my opinion, would get into. You're not disrupting something. You're not doing something that's more efficient than other processes, unless there's something in here that I missed about that. You're not creating a new market that is not there before, or disrupting a current market with a new product. You're really diving into a market that is saturated, but if your product's good, there's so much demand that you can make headway in that market. So especially since you said you were the only one in the Valley, I'm not sure Valley, that means I guess Los Angeles Valley, that does this. So I don't know what other value would be. But so that's great. But you have a lot of issues here. Mother-daughter team, love it. I mean, venture capital, not even going to look at it, not even close to it. So I would not go that avenue. Angel investor, probably not, because an angel investor, I wouldn't say always not, but probably not. An angel investor usually wants, while they'll go riskier, they usually want something that's newer in the sense of disruptive, and maybe a somewhat newer approach to a market to gain inroads faster, to get their return up to 7 times, 10 times return in 4, 5, 6 years, 7 years. That's what angel investors are thinking. So they're willing to risk more, but, So the other thing is a private investor. So if you have friends or family, let's not call them angels. Let's call them friends or family that see that you're just so good at what you do, and they do really understand your local market and think you have some opportunity to expand within that market. Go for it. Go with them and get them on board. And if you manage it right, get them out quickly. Get them in to buy your capital. Get them in to buy your inventory enough. And then as you make sure your cash conversion is right, get them out. Repay them in 2 or 3 years. Double their money or something like that. It's really the startup capital you need. So I know I'm going down a lot of different avenues here, but and this very early stage, it's very hard to get too much money other than that. Banks usually don't want to lend to this scenario unless you have some equipment that has lean potential, like some really good equipment you use in your manufacturing process that's resellable, and you could take out a sort of a loan on that equipment, or finance that equipment. But other than that, I'm not trying to be discouraging, but it is tough. So I would recommend private money in your industry. But sounds like you have potential to get this going. So congrats. All right, next question is from Robin Turpin. So Robin, I believe you were on the webinar last week as well. So Robin Turpin asks, when starting a business, do you think it's necessary to have a social media presence? Her business is in-person interactions are much more comfortable for her. As an artist, I help people feel moments of calm through my oil paintings of sunsets. Yes, Robin, you sell paintings. I remember that. So let me be extremely clear. Nowadays, if you want to have a business that is more than just a hobby and more than just a feel-good, which I value. If you want to do it as a hobby and as feel-good, not you, I'm saying in general, that's awesome. More power to you. I think you absolutely have to have a presence online. It doesn't mean a social media presence. It just means you need a presence online. You need to have a good website. You need to have an update of what you're doing. You need to attract people that way because everybody is looking online. On their stinking phones, they're looking online on everything. So if you don't have it right, if you don't have some presence there, you're just not going to get people interested. And you can geo-target online. You could just do, I think you said you were in the New York area. You could just do, 50 miles within your area and geo-target that. And I would recommend doing that, or get somebody to help you do it if you're not comfortable doing it. But people buy what they like, and they buy who they like. So if you're doing paintings and you're part of that equation, they're going to buy because of you as well. So I would put you online. That's my thought on that. So next question, I believe this is the last one. Yes. So next question is from Bob Gier. I think it's Gier or Gier. Bob Gier says, do I use one LLC for everything or have separate LLCs for different products and services? business description. I'm about to launch my company and I need to file my LLC. However, I anticipate I will have at least one or two other unrelated products / companies that I will test this year. Should I file as a parent company, LLC? At what point in the business development cycle should an LLC be filed? Elevator pitch. Expert SAT Math is a membership-based website which helps high school students realize their goals and dreams through mindset and incentive-based SAT Math prep. Incentive-based SAT Math prep? I love it. I would be all over that because I hated SATs. So if there was some incentive for me to do it, that's great. Love it. My boy would also jump all over that. He's not there yet. He's 9, but I'll take you up on that when he gets there. So, Bob, this is really legal stuff. So it's legal and it's a little bit of tax structure. So I can't dive too in deep here with you on this. However, because those are really I get this question so much by small business owners. I know it's frustrating out there with the LLC structure and so on. Okay, but it's really legal and accounting. So, what is your liability with your stuff? Let me give you an example. If you start an LLC, if you're going to buy property as part of your construct, then I would absolutely set up a new LLC and buy the property with that LLC. No question. That is a different asset. You can throw rent in between the LLCs for profit and tax structures and so on. Highly valuable to do that with property that you're buying as an asset as part of your equation. However, when you're just talking about products and services, the only thing that really comes to mind for me is, one, is there a liability function with it? Like, I'll give you an example. If you're in the business of, and I'll go back to this again, but selling furniture. I use this because I used to be in this business a lot. You sell furniture. If you sell it, but you also have to ship it and warehouse it, those are two different things. The moving aspect, the warehousing aspect, and so on is so much higher liability. And you pay workers' comp and insurance out the wazoo for that stuff. That's a high category. Versus just selling and admin functions on the other side, on the retail component. So, in that case, if you got big enough, you might want to separate out that liability, because if somebody slips and falls in the warehouse and hurts themselves, you don't want to have to be dealing with lawsuits, and also that affects your overall insurance for your whole business, when it could just affect that subset of that business. But then you need 2 tax returns. You have to. So there's more cost in having those 2 structures like that. But if the cost benefit is strong, then you separate it. So it depends on what your product is and what your service is from a liability standpoint. It also depends. One other important key here that I've seen is IP, intellectual property, or some kind of tech development, maybe that's proprietary or sort of like secret sauce. If you have something there that might be pulled off or sold separately or invested separately as its own value as an IP, intellectual property, then yes, you probably want a different LLC for that, so that you can have that structure. And then you set up the parent, as you noted, and you have these different LLCs with different IPs under them, intellectual properties, that the parent could own entirely, and then you could pull those off or divest them or have other investors come in. So there's a lot of maneuvers with that. But outside of that, if you are doing your own company and you're just starting off, I would just say get one LLC. You could always change structures later. You could always get a parent company. You can make it the parent company and get subsidiary companies. You could change anything. It's pretty fluid these days. It's gotten even more fluid in the last 10 years. I would definitely do an LLC to start. I would not do a corporation. There's extra paperwork there. It doesn't make any sense for you at this point. So, that's my advice. Again, attorneys need to solidify that for you. But that's where I think I would go with that. And you probably don't need several LLCs until you're bigger or you have those different types of products that pull off different types of valuation of their assets. So hopefully that was helpful. According to Sean, we've been talking. I think I'm going to be doing 2 of these a month now, one live like this, and to help out Sean. And just frankly, I love helping people here. One of the town hall type. So bring your questions to the town hall. Nothing is off base. If I don't know the answer, I'll tell you, or if I can't help you, I'll tell you. And go get it, man. This is the entrepreneurial world we live in. You can almost do anything these days with technology, internet, e-commerce, access. You could sell anything. You can bring an idea to life. So I'm a big fan. So good luck out there, guys. And with about 4 or 5 questions, we're wrapped up. Thanks. Everyone have a good day.